Today on Studio One, universities across the country are tapping into tap water. Find out why. Also, we'll tell you why the starting line at races is becoming crowded. And we'll listen in as a band plays tribute to a familiar hard rock icon.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Ashley Tredan. We have a great show for you today, especially one of our guests. Later in the show, she's going to be talking about how she helps people from different countries transition into living in America.
Right, and she actually works with refugees, right?
Yes, that's kind of her focus, is the refugees, and what happens is she helps them transition into America by getting them acclimated to the society and kind of giving them an idea of what society is to us here in America.
I'm sure that can be a big culture shock for some people.
It is, even the simple things like going to Walmart to buy your groceries.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Also on the show, more than 150 universities are moving away from plastic water bottles. We'll tell you how they're making the change.
And depression affects millions of people around the world. We'll talk to a man whose research might help lead to a cure.
But first, here's today's news with Stephanie Shire.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. The U.S. Attorney General announced this week that the government uncovered an assassination plot against the Saudi Arabian ambassador. Officials state that it was the Iranian government behind the conspiracy. 2 individuals have been indicted regarding the scheme. It allegedly involved Mexican drug lords, a hired hitman, and Iranian funding. U.S. officials state that an individual of Iranian-American descent was hired to shoot the ambassador at an unknown restaurant in Washington. The plot also aimed to bomb the Saudi Arabian embassy and possibly take even more innocent lives. In response to the incident, President Obama says the United States will take steps to ensure that Iran pays a price. Iran has dismissed the U.S.'s claims, stating that they are only allegations. 18 were injured in California Wednesday night when one Amtrak train collided with another. The incident occurred around 10 p.m. when a stationary train loading passengers was struck head-on by a second train that ran a red signal. The injured passengers were in both trains. The moving train was traveling between 15 and 25 miles per hour. Officials at Amtrak, the Federal Rail Agency, and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating the accident. Playtime is a staple of childhood, but it's on the decline. Experts are concerned and say playing with others is crucial to social development in children. A study by Boston College shows that kids today play about 25% less than 20 years ago. When kids are allowed to play, they make up games, negotiate rules, and make sure others are playing fair. Children who have emotional outbursts quickly learn they need to change their behavior if they want to continue to be welcomed into the group.
All play has rules, no matter whether it's playing a game, putting a puzzle together, or chasing each other on the playground. The rules may be unwritten, the rules may be unstated, but they're still there and they govern what goes on.
Gallo says abiding by these rules helps children establish social skills, self-control, and problem-solving skills, all of which are critical in a child's development. The world's second oldest functional car, La Marquise, built in 1884, has sold. La Marquise made its entrance in the RM auction sale in Hershey, Pennsylvania last week. This 4-seat quadricycle, designed around a compact boiler system, is powered by steam. La Marquise took part in the first automobile race in 1887, which consisted of a round trip from Paris to Versailles. The top speed of this vehicle is 37 miles per hour. The pre-sale estimate of La Marquise was $2.5 million. It sold for $4.6. Some universities across the nation are out to prove that being green does not have to be extreme. They've found a new way to stay hydrated, save money, and reduce waste.
They're popping up everywhere, in offices, airports, and schools. They're called hydration stations, and they're putting a cap on bottled water use. But they still have some students puzzled.
Isn't it just like a drinking fountain or something like that?
In fact, it's different than a fountain. A hydration station is a sensor-powered filtered fill-up station. It has a spigot, a fill rate 3 times faster than a regular drinking fountain, and another eco-friendly feature.
It also keeps track of how many water bottles are technically, I guess, saved throughout the use of the hydration stations.
It counts the number of disposable bottles, those taking over landfills and littering roadways, avoided.
To help save water bottles, save on plastic, and encourage people to, you know, just refill water at a hydration station rather than purchasing another one.
And the university says they're already paying off.
The recycling component has gotten to be fairly expensive, and it's just an easy way to actually reduce the amount of bottles that have to be recycled.
The International Bottled Water Association says bottled water consumption rose 3.5% last year. Americans average about 28 gallons of bottled water. That's about 180 bottles per person per year.
I do think that not only UND but nationwide, we're going to see a huge trend in downward of using plastic bottles.
So the next time you feel thirsty, you may want to turn to the tap and think outside the bottle. I'm Tanya Peters, reporting for Studio One.
Filtered tap water may also be a safer choice. Studies by the Environmental Working Group found fertilizer, pharmaceuticals, disinfectants, and other chemicals in bottled water. And that's the news for now. Monty and Ashley?
Thanks a lot, Stephanie. Now, what did they drink 100 years ago when they didn't have bottled water, huh?
I know. They must have used their hands.
Something.
Well, let's head to Katie Link for the news on tropical storms in Central America.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. Our Central America has seen a lot of severe weather in the last few days, with a hurricane hitting Mexico and a tropical depression hitting Guatemala in the same time frame. Now we're going to take a quick look here at Hurricane Hova. Now this is the track that it followed as it made its way toward Mexico. Now when it did make landfall, it was at 100 miles per hour and considered a Category 2 hurricane. Now along with that, there was a tropical depression that made landfall in Guatemala, and that storm actually caused a lot of rainfall, and that did end up with 13 deaths in that situation. Now we are going to take a look at the satellite image for Hurricane Hova, and this, you can see the eye right there. Now that's the calmest portion of the hurricane. Wrapped around that are what are called rain bands, and this is what drops all the rain that we see in these hurricanes. Now places in Mexico did see 20 inches of rain in some locations, and that caused a lot of flooding and over 2,000 people to be evacuated. Along with that, 5 deaths were reported along with this storm. Now taking a look at the week ahead, we are going to see warmer temperatures in the western portion of the states and just a little bit cooler temperatures down in the southeastern portions of the states. Now if we take a look at precipitation, we are going to see wetter conditions in the northern portion of the states as some low pressure systems are going to move through, producing some rain, and drier conditions all the way from all through California all the way through the southern portion of the states. Now that does bring us to our weather question of the day, which is actually a true or false. You can plant a tree with snow on the ground. Now Monty and Ashley, it hasn't snowed quite yet, but here in Grand Forks, we really could expect it any day.
That's true. You never know when it's going to happen, so let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope it's a few weeks out at least. Thank you so much, Katie.
You know, and I wonder, I thought I heard there was snow in Denver already. I thought I saw a Facebook friend say it was snowing out there already.
Oh, wow. So it must be headed across the whole country.
Oh, yeah. We can expect it anytime, just like you said. Well, it's time now to turn to some sports and some baseball highlights. John Schaefer has that.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. When attending sporting events, the safety of both the players and fans is a top priority. As threat levels rise, security measures tighten to ensure that the only drama occurring at the game is between the players. Whether you're hopping on a flight or attending a game, it's impossible to evade going through extensive security. Although some people say it is an inconvenience, arena officials say stadium security is a serious matter that should not be taken lightly.
We started a fan behavior code of conduct to lay out clear expectations to all of our guests so everybody has a good experience. And again, we'll address people right away if they step out of those lines.
Last month, a fan brought a taser into an NFL game in New York. Since the incident, all 32 NFL teams have instituted a pat-down policy for everybody entering a stadium. It's now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question. According to the Guinness World Records, what age was the oldest woman to complete a marathon? There's a nice variety of ages there, and that's the sports, Monty and Ashley.
All right, thank you, John. The classic tale of the Three Musketeers is told once again. We'll preview the newest movie to take a stab at the story.
And he went from a French horn to a test tube. We'll meet a man who traded in his love for music to further understand the human brain.
The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is meeting the challenge of future healthcare workforce shortages. The state's only medical school produces the highest percentage of graduates nationwide who choose family medicine. Advanced degrees are also offered in basic medical sciences like anatomy and health professions like physical therapy. Students learn and train throughout the state.
In that way, we really are North Dakota.
Make your choice the UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences.
At the University of North Dakota School of Engineering and Mines, I can experience education that fits my goals.
Become a competitive graduate in a global market and learn in small class sizes where professors are also mentors.
Work in a diverse team and inspire young minds.
Help develop world-class research.
Gain state-of-the-art technical knowledge while building strong business and leadership skills.
And stay connected even after I graduate.
Accounting at the University of North Dakota is more than just numbers. It's about maintaining a history of high-quality education and developing leaders in the accounting profession. While numbers stay the same, the UND accounting program continues to evolve. UND hosts one of the country's best accounting programs and now offers a master's degree in accountancy. Accounting at the University of North Dakota. Numbers accelerated.
Studio One is a television show produced by staff and students at the University of North Dakota.
Here you actually get to do your own stories and you get to go out and talk to people and interview and learn about the cameras and everything that goes into like a live television production. I mean, it's incredible.
Give it a try. I mean, even if you're not broadcasting communications major, anything, I mean, it's worth it.
Help others live to their full potential. Improve clients' mental and physical well-being. Excel in one of the top healthcare careers of the future. Occupational therapy students at the University of North Dakota experience high-quality education in small classes.
Has to come to 45 degrees, even in a normal motion pattern.
Your healthcare career begins at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One, news, weather, sports, and entertainment.
Scientists are coming closer every day to better understanding how the brain works. The full picture still remains a mystery despite the investment in money and research hours. Brain researcher Keith Henry is here to talk about his research on how the brain communicates. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, first of all, what is your position here at the university?
I'm an assistant professor at the School of Medicine.
Okay. And what about your research? What do you do, if you can explain it? I mean, this is one of those situations where you could say, well, it's not brain science. Well, it is brain science. So what exactly are you doing?
Well, we study the proteins in the brain that interact with drugs like cocaine, methamphetamine, ecstasy, and also antidepressants. And so while these drugs vary in their response, we're trying to understand how they interact with these same proteins and give very different behavioral effects.
Okay. And with your research, you're working with students as well?
Correct.
And do you use a lot of technology, computer modeling, that sort of thing?
Yes, so one of the things that we're trying to do is use in silico modeling. So instead of wasting a lot of time on materials and reagents, we can try and reenact or model what happens in the cell but in the computer. And by doing that, we can save a lot of time and effort, and we're becoming closer and closer to being able to correctly model how compounds like cocaine interact with these proteins.
Okay. Did you ever consider doing anything else? Like when you went to college, did you say, okay, I want to be a brain researcher?
Yeah, I sort of floated around at first. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I had a scholarship in music when I first started at the university. But you know, going from class to class, and then I finally took a course in the physiological basis of behavior, and that really changed sort of my direction and sort of led me straight into science.
Okay, what was the catalyst for getting into research for you?
So I was taking a course in genetics, and the TA, the teaching assistant, said, you probably should get in a lab and try that out. And so I took her up on it, and I went and found a lab and started working. And I found an incredible mentor who just really took me in and showed me the ropes and really opened up science to me, and that was very important.
So when did it click? What did that mentor do for you to get you so excited about this?
Sort of showed me what studying science is really about. Usually when you're in a class and you're taking a lab, that's nothing like what it really is in a laboratory. And so just opening the doors of the complexities, the intricacies, but also the beauties of science and the body of cells and just biological findings.
Okay. Well, how are you working towards curing addiction or depression in your research with what you're doing?
So we're trying to, as I said, trying to understand how the drugs like cocaine and antidepressants bind to these transporters. And since they're both of these classes of drugs bind, when they bind, what happens after that? So, but the first thing is understand where they bind to these proteins. And so by understanding that, we could have drugs that could go in and not allow, say, cocaine to bind at its target, and therefore help somebody who's addicted. It's called replacement therapy, where it could replace cocaine and not give the addictive behavior that cocaine has.
Sure. What about the difference between the antidepressants and cocaine?
So cocaine's kind of what we call a dirty drug in that it binds a lot of these transporters at the same time, a lot of different classes, whereas antidepressants typically target one or two of these transporters. And cocaine, sort of uniquely, it binds to the dopamine system, and the dopamine system is the reward pathway or the addictive pathway in our brain.
Okay. Well, and you have a personal story tied to depression and your research. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so when I was young, my father was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and I saw immediately how his mood changed. He sort of just went inward and sort of closed in, and he was very depressed, and as you know, rightly I guess he could be, or was right to do so. But for me, it really, I saw him as a different person almost immediately. And just having to deal with that weight of a terminal illness and how that can change your personality so dramatically. And I hope, you hope that one day through your research that you'll be able to help individuals to sort of reclaim their life if something like this happens, or they're just chronically depressed. It can really enable them to live better and fuller lives.
Sure. And with your research, like we said, you are working with students. What about that part of your job? What is it that you take away from that at the end of the day when you're working with students?
I'd say that's my true joy. I love explaining and working with the student and developing their ability to think and to ask questions and then find ways to answer those questions. And so seeing the light bulb go on, explaining a concept and then them getting it, and when they get it, just be open doors for them that they can just sort of grow and become better scientists.
With your research and the students, have you had eureka moments where you were able to celebrate with them?
Oh, definitely. So you just wait and see what they can come up with, and then because you want that independence, you want them to sort of say, I discovered this, and so you're very much celebrating those types of successes.
Sure. That's the high for a researcher, is finding something, right? Well, you talked about having a mentor. How important do you think it is for people in your field to have something like that?
I think that's very important, especially in the very beginning when you're first learning, because that's the time when you need the hand on your shoulder to help guide you and to understand what's right, what's wrong, how to approach science in a correct fashion. Later on, you can get the tough mentor that expects more out of you, but at first you need that sort of development and that nurturing, I think.
All right. One last question for you. How is your research going to fit into the big picture 10, 20 years from now? in your hopes anyway?
Well, I hope that we can just try and understand, for instance, antidepressants, probably the #1 prescribed medication in the developed world. We can at least understand the basics of how it works in the brain, because even now we don't understand some of the basics of how these drugs interact. And so by understanding that, we hope we can develop better medicines and just help the society in general.
Sure. All right, well, thanks so much for coming on the show, and good luck in your research.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up, from a 5K to a full marathon, the popularity of running races is increasing. We'll tell you why new runners are taking on the challenge. Also, it looks like Ozzy and it sounds like Ozzy. We'll listen in at a rock fest where a band plays tribute to a hard rock legend.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
What does cancer look like? What about diabetes, heart disease? Medical laboratory professionals are a vital link in the treatment of disease and maintenance of health. They investigate clues found in the body that will direct patient care. The University of North Dakota's laboratory science programs are some of the most innovative, far-reaching, fully accredited programs in the nation. The UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences can help you become one of the few who see beneath the surface.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
And many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
Many are familiar with the tale of the Three Musketeers. A new film tries to recapture a classic with a bit of a modern feel. The Three Musketeers is a retelling of the age-old story about a restless young man who sets out for Paris. He wants to join the Musketeers in a battle against those who want to take over the throne. The film is set in Victorian-era France, but includes a lot of modern action-adventure. This swashbuckler also includes some fantasy elements that sets it apart from previous Musketeer movies. Orlando Bloom says the movie is a good blend of past and present.
The script read like a really fantastic contemporary action adventure movie, but it's set in the period, you know. So I just, you know, it's going to be a great crowd pleaser.
The director wanted to stay true to the original novel. He said he wanted to tell the story of the Musketeers in a way that hasn't been told before. The Three Musketeers is rated PG-13 and opens in theaters October 21st. Now it's time to look at the events happening in your area. Heavy metal bands of the 70s and 80s introduced people to music and antics that were unforgettable. One man embraced the character of a hard rock legend, and with the help of his band, relived those days of classic hard rock.
Zombies, music, and fun. In Grand Forks, North Dakota, that means Zombie Music Fest. Something other than flesh is making these make-believe zombies come flocking.
Sharon!
This man may appear to be the legendary Prince of Darkness, but he is actually a singer living a double life.
I'm Michael, and I portray the character of Ozzy, just like Ozzy does.
Michael Alt has been singing with the band.
Ultimate Ozzy for a long time.
About 300 years now.
Close to 300. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
about 300
380
plus.
years actually, to be exact. Dog years.
Michael's uncanny resemblance to Ozzy made it his destiny to create a tribute band.
Look at me. It's a curse. It's a blessing and a curse all rolled into one.
A blessing for Ozzy fans to see the next best thing.
The minute I hit the stage, I am Ozzy. The minute I walk off, I'm Michael again.
His fans seem to think so too.
If you listen to a lead singer and then listen to a song from actual Ozzy Osbourne, they're identical. The band's just the real thing.
And with this crowd, Ultimate Ozzy just seems to fit.
What better artist can you have to do Zombie Fest than Ozzy?
And the word is getting out. The word everywhere we go, we're just killing them. These people are already dead, so it's just a no-brainer.
Although this band may not be one of the Walking Dead, or even the rock legend they imitate, their tribute to Ozzy is certainly enough to arouse this undead crowd. With photographer Nick Pavia, I'm Katie Fletcher reporting for Studio One.
In past performances, Michael would pretend to bite the head off a bird. Ozzy Osbourne fans would of course recognize this as one of the original rocker's infamous moments. Coming up, in the fall, many people cut down their shrubs to prepare for winter. We'll tell you why it might be the best time to start planting. That story plus some news, sports, and weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
If this tennis ball represents today's environmental challenges and these puppies are the EERC, then tackling those challenges is just another workday. At the EERC, we're improving air, water, and soil quality, developing renewable fuels, cleaner power plants, and discovering new ways to use our natural resources. And just like those puppies, we'll never tire of the pursuit. EERC, putting research into practice.
Help others live to their full potential. Improve clients' mental and physical well-being. Excel in one of the top healthcare careers of the future. Occupational therapy students at the University of North Dakota experience high-quality education in small classes.
Has to come to 45 degrees, even in a normal motion pattern.
Your healthcare career begins at the University of North Dakota.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
And many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
Your future depends on this moment. Take the path that leads to your future.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today. Well, recently, I think it was in September, a 16-year-old became the youngest winner on the LPGA Tour.
That's just crazy.
It is.
To have talent like that.
And that young. But, you know, she's not the first child prodigy. There have been many. And we thought it'd be interesting to go out on the street and ask people, if you could turn back the hands of time and become a child prodigy, what would you be? And their answers are coming up. Also in the next 30 minutes on Studio One, many people use coupons and some take it to the extreme. Find out how store policies are curbing excessive coupon use.
Also, playgrounds naturally bring people together. We'll visit a playground that has special meaning to the neighborhood that built it.
And football, cheeseburgers, and Walmart are all things that are familiar to Americans. We will talk to a woman who works with an organization that helps new Americans get acclimated to our society. But first, here's today's news with Stephanie Shire.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. A growing movement is taking millions to the streets around the country. Demonstrations from New York to LA are gaining momentum. Occupy Wall Street is a series of protests that have taken place in over 70 cities. A demonstration began in Manhattan September 17th and is still underway. Others have popped up in many places, including Chicago, Seattle, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. The protests signify discontentment with financial and social inequality among corporations. The protesters call themselves the 99%. They say the wealthiest 1% of Americans have the biggest influence on laws and policies. BlackBerry service is restored after experiencing a 3-day outage. The smartphone subscribers did not have access to email, instant messaging, or web browsing. BlackBerry maker Research in Motion says the outage was due to a core switch failure. The glitch was experienced by millions in Europe, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and North and South America. Germs, crumbs of food, and dirt are some things that most would find on their kitchen floor, and some will find them on their keyboard. A study by a UK organization found keyboards can be up to 5 times dirtier than the average toilet. Some components that led to this uncleanliness can be not washing your hands after using the bathroom, eating lunch at your desk, or oils that come from your fingers. Leftover food that falls between the cracks of the keyboard can also attract mice. To help clean, experts say to use an air duster, which is a can of compressed air that blasts out the particles, or a cleaning solution to wipe away oils on the keys. They say cleaning your keyboard once a week can make a huge difference in the cleanliness of your workspace. A collection of 972 texts from the Hebrew Bible, known as the Dead Sea Scrolls, could previously only be examined by scholars and archaeologists. Now, with infrared and computer-enhanced photography, anyone can view these ancient artifacts online. Google and the Israel Museum in Jerusalem collaborated and launched the site on September 26th. These digital, high-quality images of 5 manuscripts also include an English translation. More than 1 million people from 213 countries visited the site within the first few days. Coupons can be found in the paper, online, or in the mail. They are changing the way some people shop and making some businesses wonder if they should change their couponing policies.
This is music to the ears of couponers.
A variety of coupons for cosmetics, food, toothpaste, and all of the above.
Their bill is being reduced, which means cash going back into their pockets.
Well, we have a lot of people coming asking with coupons in hand looking for things. I mean, every day we're all asked about something, you know, where do we find this, where do we find that?
Clipping coupons can be hard work and a time-committed task.
It's a good way for the economy, helping each household out, but it's also time-consuming.
There is coupon clipping, and then there's a whole other level. Extreme couponers can put anywhere from 40 to 50 hours a week into their money-saving habit.
She went to our Elko store, and they marked things way down. She saved $5,000.
Many stores now have limits to their coupon use.
Target's coupon policy is 1 manufacturer coupon and 1 Target coupon per item.
Other restrictions include clearing the shelf and doubling up on coupons, which consist of using a manufacturer's coupon in combination with a store's coupon to create multiple layers of savings. Extreme couponers are rare, but coupons are a great way to get people in the stores and to save money. With photographer Corey Robertson, I'm Brittany Conop reporting for Studio One.
The consulting firm Inmar says coupon redemption surged 27% in 2009, up to 3.3 billion coupons used. And that's the news for now. Monty and Ashley?
Thanks a lot, Stephanie. Coupons. It's amazing when people get coupons in their hands how far they'll go out of their way just to redeem, 50 cents, $1.
Anything. It's just like, okay, these are the things we're buying this week.
Right. Well,
as long as we have sales.
Companies put them out to bring people in, and it works. So
it's definitely beneficial, I think. Well, let's go now to Katie Link for the weather news.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. Florida has seen immense amount of rains and some very strong winds due to what is called a tropical wave. Now, they've had some very a lot of damage to some roads and to other things, but we're going to take a look at what this tropical wave is. Now, it's a unorganized grouping of thunderstorms. So we see all these thunderstorms here, and what differentiates it from a tropical depression or a tropical storm is it doesn't get organized into the circulation that we usually see in a tropical storm, where it would wrap around more like a hurricane. Now, all this rain and everything has caused some roads to even wash away in some locations, and some roads were even submerged. Now, the Orlando International Airport beat its 60-year record of 3.29 inches in a single daily rainfall total, set back in 1954, with a new record on Saturday at 6.1 inches of rainfall. Now, a lot of damage has been done to some roads, and there has been a lot of flooding in many locations. And but as we move out of the tropical storm and everything, all the weather, we are going to move into the fall, spring, the fall time, and we're going to learn more about landscaping.
Planting trees has many benefits. They absorb carbon dioxide, act as windbreakers, and can even reduce noise pollution in a city. And fall can even be the best time to plant trees.
The only difference in spring planting and summer and fall is availability. There's not as many plants available at this time of the year.
If you plant trees in the spring, it can be difficult for roots to establish before the summer heat. The soil during the autumn months is at an optimal temperature and moisture levels that promote rapid root growth.
And we've even planted after we've had a first snowfall, because the plants will adjust well to the ground as long as it's not frozen, because that's the warmest part of the year is in the fall.
Less stress is put on the plants when fall planting. This allows the tree to build a healthy root system so the tree is able to grow bigger the following spring. But there's one catch about planting trees in the fall.
Make sure that you water quite well, because the plants are going to need the moisture to get through the winter so they do not dehydrate.
And there's one more benefit of fall planting. You can pick the trees by the beautiful fall colors they produce. I'm Chelsea Grover, reporting for Studio One Weather.
Now that we've learned that fall is actually the ideal time to plant a tree, that brings us to our weather question of the day. You can plant a tree with snow on the ground, and the answer is actually true. Now, Monty and Ashley, that snow can actually act as a blanket to keep the tree warm as we move into these winter months.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that you could plant trees after the snow has fallen.
Yeah, just as long as the ground isn't frozen.
Thank you so much, Katie.
If you like to plant trees when there's snow out there,
exactly.
I guess you can do that. All right, let's turn now again to sports and John Schaefer.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. Some people run only when being chased, others only to their car in the cold winter months. But there are some people who run for fun.
It's a crisp fall morning and the sun is just rising. Many are still in bed, but some people are lacing up their running shoes. Running USA reports that running has increased to 13 million from 10 million runners in 2005.
My motivation changes all the time. Sometimes it's to get in shape for a run, sometimes it's to relieve stress, sometimes it's just to go out and spend some time with some friends.
Running USA says road races have increased 43% in the past decade. While some runners have been passionate about the sport for years, there are many first-timers crossing the finish line too.
I think these races, the smaller ones, are easier for brand new runners to go to versus a bigger event.
Competitive running can have many benefits, like improving your health, supporting a great cause, or checking something off your bucket list. Kids are even lacing up those shoes to keep up with mom and dad.
This year we turned it into a family event. So if you have kids you want to push in strollers, or if parents want to run with their 5-year-old kids, they can do that.
And some children continue to follow after their parents' footsteps.
They did it when we were young growing up, and my dad was a big marathon runner, and so it's kind of cool to do something that he's done for a big part of his life.
Running is a healthy and for many a fun way to exercise. It is a sport you can start at your own pace to make it to your finish line. I'm Miranda Mars reporting for Studio One Sports.
Running USA reports that more women run 5Ks, 10Ks, and half marathons than men. However, men make up 59% of marathon runners. Now the answer to this week's sports trivia question. According to Guinness World Records, what age was the oldest woman to complete a marathon? 92. Gladys Burrill of the USA ran the Honolulu Marathon in 9 hours, 53 minutes, and 16 seconds at the age of 92. That's the sports, Monty and Ashley.
Thanks, John. What a woman. Wow. It can take years and years of training to be the best, unless you're a child prodigy. We asked people if they could go back and become a prodigy, what they would be. Their answers are still to come.
Also, children love a good playground. We'll take you to a park where a community's commitment rebuilt a place to play.
If this tennis ball represents today's environmental challenges, and these puppies are the EERC, then tackling those challenges is just another workday. At the EERC, we're improving air, water, and soil quality, developing renewable fuels, cleaner power plants, and discovering new ways to use our natural resources. And just like those puppies, we'll never tire of the pursuit. EERC, putting research into practice.
Your future depends on this moment. Take the path that leads to your future.
Studio One is a television show produced by staff and students at the University of North Dakota.
Here you actually get to do your own stories and you get to go out and talk to people and interview and learn about the cameras and everything that goes into like a live television production. I mean, it's incredible.
Give it a try. I mean, even if you're not broadcasting communications major, anything, I mean, it's worth it.
At the University of North Dakota School of Engineering and Mines, I can experience education that fits my goals.
Become a competitive graduate in a global market and learn in small class sizes where professors are also mentors.
Work in a diverse team and inspire young minds.
Help develop world-class research.
Gain state-of-the-art technical knowledge while building strong business and leadership skills.
And stay connected even after I graduate.
You're watching Studio One, your source for news, weather, sports, and entertainment.
Resilience can come in many forms. In this next story, it is a family that knows just how important it is to play.
Last spring, a fire broke out, and although there were no people injured, there was one victim.
It was shocking at first. When I received the phone call, actually from my husband, I just didn't believe it at first.
Penny Pape and her daughter Katie decided that there would be too big a void in the community with too many memories of Sherlock Park.
They all have some kind of an experience here, whether it was with friends or birthday parties or grandparents.
And knowing the true effort of planning and building, they had no problem getting the community together once again.
They have really stepped up, and we were hearing it, that they wanted the park back.
Penny, who came up with the idea for the original playground back in 2002, had as much community support this time as she did during the first construction.
It's phenomenal. How it's all pulling together and the communities helping everyone. And
Penny and Katie, along with hundreds of volunteers, worked almost non-stop for a week to restore Sherlock Park to its former glory. Even area kids showed their support.
There's a young girl, and she sold lemonade. And her grandpa and uncle matched what she sold, and she sold over $500.
Penny and Katie didn't just help rebuild a playground made out of plastic and wood. They helped to rebuild a symbol of a community that unifies everyone in it. With photographer Matt Petroviak, I'm Lisa Casares, reporting for Studio One.
Volunteers of all ages donated and came to help rebuild. The playground is now finished and a ribbon cutting ceremony was held to welcome everyone back to play. Some dream of becoming the next Beethoven, some the next Tiger Woods, and others want to be the new Einstein. In September, 16-year-old Alexis Thompson became the youngest winner on the LPGA Tour. Scattered dreams came back to some of us after her win. We wanted your thoughts on what kind of prodigy you could have been.
Can't play an instrument for the life of me and hold a beat, so that would be something I would like to be good at.
If I could go back and do something total different, I'd be a geologist.
If I could go back, I'd probably get into motorcycle riding sooner. Possibly be fun to compete or just know more about it.
It would be in the area of music that I'd like to do, and that's because I don't have one musical bone in my body. Yeah, and I look at people that do, and they look like they're enjoying it and having so much fun.
Well, ever since I was 10, I've played golf, and one of my big dreams was to become a professional golfer. So if I could go back, I'd love to go and kind of get myself to practice more golf.
If I was to go back, I would be a prodigy in the piano because I already play, but I wish I was way better, and I would be that one kid that is like on national news and people just think is amazing because at a young age they can play the piano like Mozart.
A comment from our Facebook page from Fargo, North Dakota. Emily says, also piano playing. You could travel and play with orchestras all over the world or settle in Hollywood and play music for the movies. Another from Julie in Oslo, Norway. Figure skating. I always dreamed I would put down my cup of hot chocolate, get out on the ice in front of everyone and have them gasping. Plus, it would be a great excuse to wear those sparkling dresses. Most people do not know what it is like to leave their home country and move somewhere completely foreign. We will talk to a woman who helps refugees make that transition.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by the Listen Center, where meeting friends at Listen is a groovy thing to do and has been since the days of Woodstock.
What does cancer look like? What about diabetes, heart disease? Medical laboratory professionals are a vital link in the treatment of disease and maintenance of health. They investigate clues found in the body that will direct patient care. The University of North Dakota's laboratory science programs are some of the most innovative, far-reaching, fully accredited programs in the nation. The UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences can help you become one of the few who see beneath the surface.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
And many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
A refugee is someone who is forced to flee their home country because of fear from war, persecution, or violence. The Global Friends Coalition is an organization that helps transition refugees into a new place they call home. Program Director Cynthia Schab is here to discuss the benefits of the program. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
I'm so excited to have you. What is the Global Friends Coalition?
We are comprised of individuals and an organization that helps new Americans or refugees resettle into Grand Forks and become part of the community.
Where are most of these new Americans coming from?
Right now, most of our new Americans are settling from Bhutan. We have some coming from Iran, and Iraq, but most are coming from Bhutan right now.
Why are they coming to America?
Well, they've lived in refugee camps for 20 to 25 years, and they're looking for a new life, a new start to life, and we want to be accepting of them and welcome them into Grand Forks.
So they've been in these refugee camps for so long. How are they chosen to come over to America?
You know, I often talk to people about a 4-letter word called wait. They wait a long time for a new start to their life. And in the refugee camp, they don't really have a choice as to where they get to resettle, but they hope to resettle to another country. And the United States resettles a lot of refugees for humanitarian efforts, and we have a particular quota that the federal government sets for us, and then the United States accepts that number into our country.
So they don't really know where they're going, but once they get to, in particular, Grand Forks, how does the Global Friends Coalition help to make that adjustment? Or what kind of services do you offer?
Great, thanks for asking. We offer 2 main services. We offer just the mentor, which is a fancy word for friend, and tutoring, so helping someone learn English.
What kind of activities do you do to help transition them from new Americans into our society?
Well, that's partly the role of the mentor. So if you can imagine a refugee coming to Grand Forks after having lived in the camp, in a refugee camp, where they don't have running water, they are not used to electricity, they don't necessarily know what goes in a refrigerator. Think about all the canned goods that our grocery stores have. I mean, I could list a whole lot of different things that are new to them. And so our volunteers, Global Friends Coalition volunteers, help a family get resettled and understand what some of these things are. They might take them to the grocery store and kind of point out different things. They might take them, you know, to new places like the public library. Services that you and I would take for granted that they just don't know about.
How do families deal, or how do you deal with families that are having a difficult time adjusting to the norms that we have, like going to Walmart for our groceries and kind of those simple things?
Yeah, you know, a mentor can kind of guide the way. So they might say, let's pick a store today, let's go shopping together, and then kind of pick out things as they're shopping and just help them get familiar with all of the things that we would just not know that they didn't know. But if they're together with somebody, then they're bonding and learning new things.
What kind of things has your organization done?
One of our roles is advocacy. So we have celebrated World Refugee Day down at the farmers market in the summer, and we have new Americans that come down and dance and sing on the stage as part of World Refugee Day. We have them make some of their foods from their countries, and we offer that for people to try and taste different foods. That's just one of our main events. We have a fundraiser in the spring. It's a soup bowl fundraiser, and we invite community members to come and enjoy a bowl of soup, but learn a little bit about refugees and, you know, how they got here and how they're doing in Grand Forks. Those are just 2 activities.
And that just helps out a lot to get them transitioned into our society and have people help out. Is your organization unique to Grand Forks, or is it a national organization?
Our organization is unique. We are an independent 501c3, a nonprofit organization, but you know, there are other organizations similar to ours in other cities. Fargo has an organization that offers friendships and mentoring and English language tutoring, and other cities do too. However, I will say that some of our refugees tell us that they have relatives in other states that don't have the kind of mentoring that we are able to offer, and how helpful it is. Our mentors can help in other ways that we haven't talked about. For example, driving is another big one. And so, yeah, we are modeling after some other agencies, but we're also doing some new things.
That's great. How do we help new Americans feel welcome?
You know, great question. And one of the ways is just to smile at people when they're when you see someone on the street, when you see them in the grocery store, acknowledging we feel better when we are smiled at. And so I like to tell people, let's just, remember our neighbors and be friendly.
So it's just the little things that matter. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be right back after this.
The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is meeting the challenge of future healthcare workforce shortages. The state's only medical school produces the highest percentage of graduates nationwide who choose family medicine. Advanced degrees are also offered in basic medical sciences like anatomy and health professions like physical therapy. Students learn and train throughout the state.
In that way, we really are North Dakota.
Make your choice the UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences.
If this tennis ball represents today's environmental challenges and these puppies are the EERC, then tackling those challenges is just another workday. At the EERC, we're improving air, water, and soil quality, developing renewable fuels, cleaner power plants, and discovering new ways to use our natural resources. And just like those puppies, we'll never tire of the pursuit. EERC, putting research into practice.
At the University of North Dakota School of Engineering and Mines, I can experience education that fits my goals.
Become a competitive graduate in a global market and learn in small class sizes where professors are also mentors.
Work in a diverse team and inspire young minds.
Help develop world-class research.
Gain state-of-the-art technical knowledge while building strong business and leadership skills.
And stay connected even after I graduate.
What does cancer look like? What about diabetes, heart disease? Medical laboratory professionals are a vital link in the treatment of disease and maintenance of health. They investigate clues found in the body that will direct patient care. The University of North Dakota's laboratory science programs are some of the most innovative, far-reaching, fully accredited programs in the nation. The UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences can help you become one of the few who see beneath the surface.
Tune in next week on Studio One. We'll talk to a man who was asked to dress like a female fashion model. It worked so well that he's made a career out of it. Plus, we'll have other news and entertainment stories for you.
We're going to leave you now with pictures of an event that catered to all things doggy. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.